All right, welcome back, everyone. Let's continue. We've been looking at arguments against the theory of evolution. So, we've seen that this individual by the name Darwin, he's a naturalist and he has come up with the concept of uh, origin of species. And we've seen four specific concepts on the basis of which he stated that evolution is true. First one is the geographical distribution of species. The second one, fossils. The third one, vestigial organs. Fourth one, homology. Okay, so we've presented the argument for the first one, which is migration, and we saw that there are at least two categories of creatures where we can't use migration and vicariance as a reason for their geographical distribution. What are those two creatures? Flightless birds. Second one, freshwater crabs. So again, there are people who have come up with all kinds of concepts. They've said that the crabs, they put themselves into hollow logs and they were transported through the sea. So anyway, it's very hard, like how would they survive for such a long time to cross across the oceans? So there are many questions that are asked. As of now, it's quite clear that there's no answer for how they got distributed. Okay, so this is a very big argument against evolution. Now, the second one is what we call as fossils. We've seen that the study of fossils is what? Paleontology. Okay, where they check different layers and they find organisms or creatures from different times in history. So, according to Darwin, based on paleontology, we can say that there is descent. You can connect and say, one creature existed many years ago and then it evolved into another one, which is more adapted with modifications, variants, and based on natural selection. So that is the concept of Darwin, right? But what is it that we want to argue today? We will answer that question. All right. So there's one more concept here called Cambrian stratum, but I think we won't go into it much. So basically, it talks about a time where many existing creatures were fossilized, and that period that geological period is called as the Cambrian period. So in the Cambrian period, you find for many fossilized animals, you can say that, or creatures. Okay, I'm just using the word creatures. So now there are questions that are asked based on the Cambrian period, that the fossilized creatures seem to have a pretty complex structure, because evolution is saying that descent happened from simple to complex. So when you go back to the Cambrian time, how come organisms or creatures were so complex? So that's a question that is asked. Are you all with me? Yeah. So how come the fossils of the Cambrian period are complex? So that's a major question. And apparently, Darwin and the followers of the Darwinian theory do not have a satisfactory answer for that question. Okay. Yes. So that's about the Cambrian period. So let's move on to other things. Yeah. So here in page 31, there's the argument of the American scientist William, who also asked the same thing. Like, how is it that you have such complicated animals in the Cambrian period? Okay. So let me just summarize in my own words. If I go through like note by note. So another issue is when fossils are sort of dug out, and then you understand what is this organism and which time period it may have emerged from. One question that scientists ask is, how can we determine the time period accurately? Okay, yes, somebody is determining the time, but is it accurate is a question. Because in our notes you'd find there's a statement where fossils don't get fossilized with birth certificate. Like, you can't find out exactly when that fossil was that creature was fossilized. So there is a little bit of argument about that. So exact time, uh, though we can arrive at somewhat similar, but not the exact time. The other issue with going by fossils as a proof for evolution is, this thing of saying this one is a descendant of that one. Okay, for example, if let's say in a particular place, you find the bones of an adult and a child, how can we say that this adult is the parent of this child? Yes or no? That is the most common answer that people would give. Maybe the adult and the thing, something happened, parent, child. But is that correct? May not be correct. Okay. So, what is happening in paleontology is, when they are identifying creatures, there is a link created. Okay, this is the parent of this. But is that accurate? Just because two or three things are buried close to each other, they are not necessarily connected. But this is the basis. Fossils are a basis for evolution. Yes, please go ahead.
Determine if it's the parent or child.
So, okay, is there any study to identify is that a parent or a child? I don't think so. See, because at present, max we are doing is carbon dating. I'm aware of carbon dating, which only lets you know how early this creature existed. It's just about the age, but the connection, I think you need more things like DNA samples and other things to actually make that connection and say this is the parent of that one. But in case of fossils, I don't know if you can effectively do that for things that are so old. Yeah, maybe little earlier, if those cells are available, you can still test and find out. But in the case of fossils, I don't think so. It's very difficult to determine. So that's the challenge, because in the tree that we saw, this animal comes after that animal, there is a strong assumption that a particular creature is the descendant of another creature. But the question is how to prove it. Just because they are buried one below the other, one next to the other, we cannot connect it. Okay, so that is the issue with fossils, which a lot of scientists are asking regarding the theory of evolution. Okay, all right, so that's the summary of that section. We'll move on to the next section. The third one is what we call as vestigial organs. Vestigial organs for Darwin were a great and a strong evidence, because he said that organs from the previous organism still exist, but in a dormant form. They have no use. So, as we stated the argument, sorry, why would God create organs without use? Sounds very valid. So it became a strong point for those believing in evolution. So one particular organ is appendix. I already mentioned that he used that as a very big thing, saying, okay, why is there an appendix when it does not have any function? But currently, scientists believe that the appendix has a role. It's a place of antibody production. So you see, science is also evolving. So now science is able to find out that though it looks like it doesn't have a function, it does have a major function. So that what he said is already refuted. Okay, so the appendix has use. Yes. So yes, based on this also we can say that we cannot just connect vestigial organs to different organisms and create that tree of descent. Yeah. So that's about vestigial organs. Let's go to homology. So in this, what he stated was we can see certain similar structures and functions in organisms, and so based on that we are saying this is a descendant of that. Okay, are you all with me? So that's what we see. But the argument, the strong argument is across species, very disconnected species also have similar structure and similar function. How do you explain that? So there is no descent connection between those species, and yet we are seeing similar structure, similar function. What Darwin is saying is because there is similar structure, similar function, they are connected. Now, what are those examples? One is, butterflies and bats. So we see that their wings for flying. Okay, one second. Yeah. So the construction of these wings is quite different, but they're used for flying. Okay. So in terms of function is similar. What is the function? Flying. Structure is different, but function is flying. So another example is a similarity of structure, and this is seen in the bones of the bat and the flipper of porpoise. So what we see is the structure is similar, whereas you find that the bat is using the wings to fly, the bones or whatever to fly, and the porpoise is using it to swim. So in terms of structure it is same, in terms of function it is different. Yeah. So these are completely different species, you can't connect them and say descent, but still there are some kind of similarities, either similarity of function or similarity of structure, and this confuses the theory that Darwin suggested. Any questions? Anything? Okay. So yes, we have presented a good number of arguments for Darwin's theory, and there is no answer to the questions that we asked today, because there's a lot more, but I'm thinking I don't want to get into the details of it, but you can please go and read. But today we have looked at some of the key arguments of Darwin's theory. So based on these things, we know that there isn't sufficient defense for um, this theory. And in fact, many times when these questions were asked, they, like even Darwin himself, you will read in the notes that there was a time when he was questioned about his theory, and people proposed creation as a better theory, but he refuted creation saying it is not scientific. But there's a big problem with that. How can you say something is not scientific without evidence? But that's what Darwin did. He said, don't even get into creation because it's not scientific. So a scientific process should involve examining the facts of creation, which was not even done. Immediately he said, oh, that's like religion, don't even bring it in, it's not scientific. Yeah. So this is how the Darwinian theory was proposed and accepted around the world and even up until today. But you would see that today there is a new stream of science, it's called creation science. You can look up, there's lots of podcasts, and even on YouTube you have lots and lots of panel discussions, and these scientists are not even Christian, they're not Christian even, but they would rather believe in creation than in evolution because of the problems or the lack of answers in evolution. Okay? So let's I'm just going to read through some statements here just for us to understand better about how Darwinian theory uh, refuted the existence of God. So essentially, Darwin, in his thesis, argued against what he thought a creator God should not have done. He argued, first point, such a God would not have created species with the characteristics that make it possible to classify them hierarchically into species, genera, and other categories. So, did we understand that statement? He's saying, if because Darwin was able to do one classification. So he's saying, if God created, why is there an opportunity to classify? It should not be possible. That's his argument. Okay, but anyway, I don't know if we find it a problem. Why can't God create in such a way that we can classify? Yeah. So the next thing he stated is that such a God would not have created extant species that are geographically distributed the way they are. So that's his argument. He's saying, no, there is no God. God would not have geographically distributed this species. Next one. Such a God would not have created extinct species that appear in the progressive pattern we see in the fossil record. Okay, let me just read. Fourth one, he says, such a God would not have created species with vestigial organs. Fifth one, such a God would not have created species in which similar structures perform different functions. So, literally, or very clearly, Darwin was against creation. And he tried to bring in points to say that if there is a God, he would not have done these things. So for Darwin, uh, the concept of God and creation was not at all valid. And when questioned, he didn't even give it an opportunity to be researched scientifically. He straight away said, it's not scientific. Let's not even discuss about it. So that's a major problem with the evolution theory. Yeah. So, yes, we've seen it's quite problematic when we consider the concept of, humanity. We said that then, if we only subscribe by evolution, man is a low creature. Darwin has already written. You may be intelligent, you may be strong, you may be humble, you may be compassionate, all that's fine. But never forget your low image. But that's not what the Bible teaches us. The Bible teaches us that we are so precious, we are so blessed. Yeah. And again, Darwin says, okay, survival of the fittest. So even within the human race, there are strong and weak ones. So the strong have, a greater authority, strength to survive as compared to the weak. But we don't see that in the Bible. We see that whoever puts their faith, their trust in the Lord, God acts on their behalf. And there is no partiality with God. There is equality. So where are these concepts coming from? The Bible, God, and the way we look at each other also with respect, honor, dignity. These words have no meaning if we are evolved, but we know these words are so important to us because there is a God. Yeah. So we've seen some problems with the theory of evolution. Are there any points to discuss? If yes, we'll take it up. If not, we'll move on to the next one. Online students. Okay, there are some comments here in the chat. So Sriraj says, written wrong by Darwin was developmental biology. The different species go through similar developmental stages as embryos, suggests a common past. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's true. Then, as Darwin says, humans evolved from monkeys, and if so, why do apes still exist? Okay, some arguments that Sriraj is putting forward to the theory of evolution. So I don't have answers, Shiraj. Okay, moving on. Yeah. Okay.
Statement that few of our humans can move their ears, right?
Hmm.
So, okay.
Okay.
So, does this thing contradicts the creation of God? Like few scientists say that we have evolved from apes, right? So does this contradicts the creation of God?
Yeah, so see, uh, it's very similar to what Darwin proposed, right? He just said, okay, because there are some similarities, there is a probability of descent. Got it. But what we are saying is, then how do you explain the same thing? The argument for homology. Why are two different species having the same, like same function, same structure, different species? Then where is the connection? Got it. So if you're saying there is a connection, why isn't there a connection in different species also? Because it should be correct for all creatures, and we have to associate descent. So just because we can move, I don't think there's any connection. Maybe God has given us also the ability, right? Some of us to do that. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yes.
uh, 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 as per the science,
Mm-hmm.
the body structures which we have, the internal organisms, actually, if we remove it out and lay it on a road, it takes 10 kilometers to be laid. Our entire internal organisms, as it is specifically made. God has made it specifically. Even male and female, it is specifically made it. There is a similarity, might be a similarity, but with a different style of specimens.
Yes.
This itself
Yes.
it shows that God exists.
Yes. So, yes, brother Shiraj, the way, again, you're pointing to intelligence in what has been created. Uh, so there's a strong pointing towards God and the existence of God. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Evolution. See, basically, evolution was standing on four key concepts. And today, what we have learned is there are problems in each one of these concepts. Therefore, evolution is not accurate as it has been presented. Okay, but anyhow, I think it's the most widely accepted concept around the world. It's being taught in schools. So, yeah. All right, let's move on. Do you all need a little bit of time to study and come back? Because there's a lot of information. Because if we jump into the next one, that's again another big thing. We are moving to the Big Bang theory of cosmology. So, like we'll have to discuss some new concepts. So, if you want time, I can just give you time. You can read through evolution and then we can move on to cosmology as you suggest. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, please
Ma'am,
go ahead. You
can
can.
you revise one more time? Like,
You want me to revise?
yeah, yeah, if possible.
Okay. But won't it be a repeat if I go through everything again? Or if you want me, I'll go through again. Huh? Okay. Saubhagya, the others are saying they want to read.
Oh, okay, ma'am. No problem. I'll see the later.
You
I'll see
can
the.
watch the video.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you. But please, after reading, if you have any questions, you can note it down. We'll discuss it in the next class and then start. Okay. Thank you. One question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Careful, careful.
So we see that in 6 days God created
Mm.
and he stopped creation. But evolution, we don't say stop.
Yes.
So it's always evolving.
True.
So is there evolution happening now? If it is happening,
Mm.
we should be able to see it. If
Yes.
the humans are evolving, uh, we might be getting more matured, more advanced in our thinking and in our
Mm.
accumulating of knowledge.
Mm. Mm.
But according to evolution, it's also physical evolution, right?
Yes.
we
True.
are we are not
True.
getting any new parts or
Yes.
so
Yes.
nothing is happening in terms of us becoming a new creation or getting
Mm-hmm.
into a new form of physical
Yes,
form.
yes.
So so do they say like evolution also has a end, or evolution is continuous?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know about the end uh, goal of evolution. I have not heard about it, but it's a good question for us to research. But when it comes to the existence of man, um, I think it's calculated in thousands of years, a few thousand years, the existence of man. So maybe somebody who believes in evolution might answer you saying evolution takes millions of years. So wait, okay, man will also evolve. That could be their answer, because even when they talk about all that has happened till now, it's over a time span of millions and billions of years. Yeah, but that's the concept of evolution.
Ma'am, I think the man has started even the evolution changes in the style. This explains the new generation kids being very fast, very quick in adoption, even like 1 year or 2 years. The children are very fast. They even the mobile which we are using it upside down, they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
That much they have evolved, which we weren't there in the 90s or 80s.
True. So, Brother Sriraj, what Vinay is saying is, yeah, like in terms of our intellect, intelligence, we have developed. Okay. We've become, you could say, more complex in our thinking, the devices, and many other things. But that could also be called like adaptability, not necessarily evolution. So, Vinay is saying physically, physical change to another species, another creature altogether, that we have not seen. If evolution were true.
Why human has to change? He is created by God as a human, as a man and woman. Why
Yeah.
he has to change? Because God is created in the same way.
Yeah, true. That's the creation argument. But if evolution were true, Vinay is saying we also should change into another creature. So, which is a valid question. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. So we'll end here today then, and everyone will read about evolution and come back. Please read even about cosmology. Otherwise, it'll be challenging. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.